Hello and welcome back to the Satoshi Society YouTube channel. My name is AJ, one of the hosts here, and today we are going to be taking a look at the Bitcoin charts. And I'm sure you are aware that Bitcoin has had a big push towards the upside since my last video. And I said this was possible. I did say this was possible if we could see those resistance levels being broken on Bitcoin. Okay, and that's exactly what happened. I know I have been sort of MIA for the past 2-3 days. But I have been busy doing other stuff, so I do apologize. I do apologize for that. But I've really been taking advantage of this market as this price has been going up. Okay, we've been breaking resistance levels after resistance levels after resistance levels, and it is looking very good on the likes of for the likes of Bitcoin. Okay, and that's what we're going to take a look at today. Okay, we can't get too overly bullish, okay, because we do have some signs that a pullback may be in play, so we have to factor that in. But initially, I am still very bullish, or I have flipped, sorry, very bullish now. And I do think this bull market has started if certain things can remain, and we will talk about that in today's video. So please make sure that you smash a like on this video, and we will jump straight on into the charts. So jumping straight on into the charts, as we can see, last night we got exactly what I have been looking for, in order for me to flip bullish, okay, within Bitcoin, okay, and I am now officially bullish within Bitcoin, okay, because we have broken above $25,200 on that weekly chart. Okay, we did it on the daily, and then we did it on the weekly as of last night, okay, and we've opened a new candle above this major resistance, which we can see we've used a number of times as major resistance. And now what can we be looking for? Well, we can actually be looking for higher for Bitcoin, okay, we can be looking at Bitcoin coming all the way up to $30,000, and that is going to be the next target that I have for Bitcoin in the bullish case, okay? But of course, we've had this pump, okay? A pump like this, is really nice, but the chances of it continuing are fairly low, without having a pullback. So we do have to be aware that a pullback is most likely going to be in play, okay? Whether that is going to occur at 30,000 or whether that is going to occur as of right now, we don't know, okay? We could see the price actually pull back from here and come all the way back down to, $25,200, find support there, then continue towards 30,000. Or we could see the price continue to 30,000, pull back from there down to $25,200, and then continue its push towards the upside, coming back up to 30,000, maybe even breaking that, then later on in the future, coming back to 60,000, almost $70,000. Okay, so on the weekly, we are looking very bullish. Very bullish on the weekly. Coming into the daily, okay, we're coming into some major resistance right here. Okay, why is this major resistance right here? Well, if we come back, we can see we've used this level as major support previously before the big break towards the downside. Going back even further as well, major support here, major support along here as well. Okay, so this has been a major support level, which is now going to act as resistance. Okay, so we need to be very aware of the level that we are at right now. It's been major support, as now, because we're below it, or were below it, it's going to act as resistance. And right now we are within this previous support now resistance level. Okay, so this is a major level that we need to be aware of. Okay, and then if we bring up the RSI, okay, if we bring up the RSI and even the CVD as well, let's have a look at what's going on here. Well, on the price action chart, we're forming higher highs coming into this resistance, but on the RSI, we're forming lower lows, okay? Even on the CVD as well, we're forming lower lows, okay? What is this telling me? Well, this is telling me that a pullback from here could be something that is in play, okay? This is exactly what happened from $25,200, and this is where we made a really nice short position, okay? What was happening? Well, we were coming into resistance, major resistance. Okay, remember, $25,200. What were we doing? Well, we were forming higher highs on the price action chart and lower lows on the RSI. Okay, and even on that CVD as well. Okay, we were forming lower lows. What happened? Well, we got a pullback, okay, because we were coming into major resistance with a divergence. What happened? We entered into a short position and we took advantage of this big pullback. Again, I told you I took all of the profits off the table at $21,500 approximately. Okay, that's where we took all of the profits. Price exceeded that slightly, went lower. Okay, but by then I'd already taken all that profit off the table. That trade, okay, printed us over just a little over 100%. Okay, that was a really nice trade that I gave you lot up here, and I told you before I was entering the trade, and I told you after that I entered the trade, and I showed you the proof that I was in that trade as well. Okay, we made a really nice trade from that. Now, what are we looking at? Okay, we're looking at the exact same thing. We're looking at the exact same thing. Okay, remember, I am now bullish, okay, because on the daily, right, if we're looking at this daily here, we have had a confirmed break above $25,200. I said if we get above that, I'm going to flip bullish, okay, but remember, we do have to remain above $25,200, okay? We do need to remain above it. This is the level that we need to stay above and hold for me to be happy that this bull run is going to continue. Okay, if we go below that, then we can be looking at, actually lower prices. So we need to be aware of that. Okay, and that's when we're talking about potentially coming back down to $21,400. Okay, but if we can pull back from here and find support at $25,200, bounce off that level, then I'll be happy to say that this bull run is going to continue. Okay, but we have to be aware coming into major resistance and forming bearish divergences on the likes of the RSI and the CVD and probably some other indicators as well. It's not a bullish sign, okay? So we have to remember it is major resistance, forming bearish divergences coming into it. So there is a high possibility, okay, that we could get a pullback from here. Very high possibility that we could get a pullback. I'd be looking for that pullback to come to $25,200, where what can we do from there? Well, we can reevaluate the situation. Is the price looking bullish coming into this? As in, we're not forming any bearish scenarios, and we're actually forming bullish scenarios coming into that support, then great. Okay, we can be looking for a long down here, longing that back up, okay, to this major resistance, potentially break that resistance and see the price coming much higher. Or is the price going to come into this support, look bearish, okay, and then break that level, okay, and move lower to possibly $21,470, okay? But right now, I would be expecting a pullback from here back down to potentially $25,200. Okay, I'm not saying that the price is going to come back, is going to pull back all the way to, the bottom of the bear market. Okay, I'm not saying that. I'm saying that from here, we're coming into major resistance, forming bearish scenarios. Okay, so I do expect the price to pull back. Where would the price pull back to? Well, $25,200, because that's that next major level. Okay, from there, we reevaluate. Is the price going to bounce and move higher? Okay, which, I would expect because we have broken towards the upside of $25,200 on the likes of the weekly. Okay, so I would expect that to happen. However, we have to factor in that we could break below it and we could go lower. Okay, so that is my plan from now. Okay, looking to enter into a short position here. Okay, short this down to $25,200, and if we come into that looking bullish, okay, then I will close that short position and look to enter a long position from there. Okay, if we can come in, form bullish divergence coming into major support, we can look for a bounce towards the upside. Okay, but right now, looking for a short right here. Okay, obviously, invalidation is going to be in place, or a break above 28,876. Okay, so this level right here would be the invalidation. A candle break above this would be that invalidation for me. And obviously, I've got that 10% stop loss in play as well. Okay, so that is what I'm looking at in the sort of medium term short to medium, for Bitcoin. Okay, pull back down here, then potentially a bounce off that level if we are looking bullish coming into this $25,200 level. Okay, what else do we need to look at? Well, we need to look at the DXY. Now, the DXY is going in Bitcoin's favor. Why? Because we are pulling back. Okay, remember, I was telling you here, okay, this major resistance, if we can get rejected from it, very, very bullish for Bitcoin. That's exactly what happened. Okay, we got a test of it again. Okay, but again, we're getting rejected from it. So very, very bullish for Bitcoin. I said if we were to break above this level, that's when we've got to get worried for Bitcoin and be looking at Bitcoin coming down to those lows of $15,500. However, We did not get that break above it. We continue to get rejected on the DXY, which is really, really bullish for Bitcoin. Now, what is happening? Well, we're actually breaking below the support level that I said was holding us up from $101. Okay, if we were going to continue to get held up by this diagonal upwards trending support, then what was the DXY going to do? We'll most likely continue to tap this resistance and potentially even break above it, moving much higher. However, we're breaking towards the downside on the DXY. This is what we want to see. We want to see the DXY break towards the downside, and we want to see the DXY come down to 101. Why? Because this will allow Bitcoin to continue higher, potentially 30K, potentially even higher than 30K as well. Okay, so this is what we want to see. Another bullish thing, the ES, okay, the exact same thing, but vice versa for the ES. I was telling you, okay, we want to see the ES hold the support and bounce towards the upside, because then we can come up to these major resistance levels up here. However, if we were to break towards the downside of these support levels, where were we most likely going to go? Well, we were most likely going to come down to $3,750 approximately at this next major support level. Okay, but that's not the case. Okay, we're holding the support level. DXY is pulling back, which is good. Okay, and we're continuing to hold this level. So it's looking likely that we could come back up to this major resistance. Of course, within these markets, things can change within an instance. Things can change within a click of a finger. But as of right now, we're looking very, very bullish, okay, in the likes of the traditional markets and the crypto market as well. Why? DXY pulling back, traditional market holding support, and Bitcoin obviously breaking $25,200. So in that regard, I am very bullish on Bitcoin as of right now, but a potential pullback, okay, from where we are now is healthy. Okay, it's something healthy, and it's something that I would expect to happen to continue this push towards the upside. Okay, and tying in the DXY to Bitcoin again, if we can break below this support level here, okay, and then come down to 101, I would expect Bitcoin to be pushing higher. I would expect it to be coming up to 30,000 if that was the case. Okay, but remember, we're coming into resistance, continuing to form bearish divergences. So we just need to factor that in and just be aware that a pullback is something that, is probably needed. Okay, it's probably needed. We've had a big push towards the upside. Now let's have a cooling off period. Okay, and then we can continue this bull run. Okay, if we're looking bullish coming into $25,200, then we can be looking for this bull run to continue. Okay, but a pullback is something that will be very, very healthy. Another thing that I want to look at as well is the 2-year and 10-year yield curve inversion. Okay, remember, I've been telling you, okay, the 2 and the 10-year yield curve inversion is looking very bearish, as in, okay, the 2-year has exceeded the 10-year yield, meaning that a recession is very, very, very likely. Okay, the last time, and we even exceeded it by -1. Okay, and the last time we saw this, okay, was all the way back in 1981 and 1982. Okay, so of course this chart is out of date. This is 2018, but where this orange line would have been at the low, okay, it would have been around here, okay, around this -1, maybe even lower than that as well. The last time that happened, okay, was back in 1981, 1982. What happened then? Well, there was a massive financial crash, okay, within the markets. There was a massive crash back then. So we do just have to still have that in the back of our head, okay? Previously, when we've been this low on the 2 to 10-year yield curve inversion, we have had a massive crash within the markets, okay? But then we can argue, has that crash already happened? To be honest with you, I would say no to that, okay, because the crash hasn't been that severe. It's just been a normal bear market, to be honest with you. Okay, we actually haven't pulled back as severely as we have in the previous bear markets, okay? So in that regard, I would say no, we haven't had the crash, okay? But is it to say that the crash is going to come? No, okay? It's not I'm not saying that, okay? I'm just saying we have to, we have to have this in the back of our minds as well. There is always that possibility. And looking at this bullishly, okay, what are we looking at? Well, we're actually looking at the 10-year yield catching up to that 2-year yield, okay? Or, looking at it the other way, that 2-year yield pulling back a lot more than that 10-year yield. Okay, so we could potentially see that 10-year yield finally exceed the 2-year yield, which would be very, very bullish. But then again, we have to remember that the 2-year has exceeded the 10-year. And looking at this chart here, every time that's happened, okay, the 10-year actually flips, okay, above the 2-year yield, and then the recession comes. Okay, that's what happened. That's what happens the majority of the time. Okay, excluding 1979 and 1980, and then 1981 and 1982, excluding those times. Okay, but from 1989, from the 2000s and 2006, 7, and 8. Okay, every time after those periods, okay, the 10-year then exceeded the 2-year, and then the recession came. So we just have to be aware of that. Yes, we're looking bullish. Okay, yes, I'm happy to say that we're in a bull market because we're above $25,200. But we have to remember, if a recession is coming, then there could be another crash within the markets. Now, I'm not saying it's going to happen, okay, because not all recessions lead to big crashes within the markets, okay? But it is something that we have to have in the back of our minds and we have to be aware of, okay? But as of right now, where I'm sat is very bullishly, because we're above $25,200, okay? A pullback, yes, may be needed, but initially I would be looking for 30,000 to be that next bullish target, okay? Yes, a pullback may be needed from here back down to $25,200. Then if we're looking bullish there, we can come back up, test this resistance, hopefully continue to look bullish there and continue to move higher, okay, which on the daily chart here, my next major level is actually 32,384, but I'll be looking at the weekly first, which would be $30,600, okay, as that next target, okay? So that is what I'm looking at next. Actually, to be honest with you, $29,500, and that's going to be that next resistance. But if we were to come up there, I would expect 30,000 to be tapped. Okay, not far off 30,000, so I would expect it to be tapped. Moving on quickly, remember, we've got the FOMC meeting, 2 days, 3 hours, 40 minutes. What's it looking like? Well, it's looking like we're going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. 76.8% of the analysts think we're going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. 23.2% think we're going to get nothing. Okay, if we got nothing, well, that would be very bullish for the market. However, I think we're most likely going to get a 25 basis point rate hike. I think that's realistic. And this is where I think this pullback could occur. Okay, just tying in the fundamentals and tying in the technicals together. Every time we get a 25 basis point rate hike, what happens? Okay, even when we get a rate hike, what tends to happen? Okay, well, if we're going from a 25 to a 50, then we tend to see a pullback. Okay, but if we're going from a 50 to a 50 or a 75 to a 75, or just a 50 to a 25, we tend to see the market pump coming into it. We tend to see the market pump slightly after, okay, only a very small pump, but initially we have a much, much bigger pullback afterwards. And this is where we could tie in the fundamentals to the technicals, okay, because we could actually see coming into this, we could see a slight pump, okay, and afterwards we could see a slight pump as well. Again, maybe to 28,876, and then we get that pullback, okay, which brings us down to $25,200. Then we can continue that rally towards the upside. Okay, we just have to remember that when we get a 25 basis point rate hike, people tend to see it as bullish because the Fed are increasing by a decreased amount, as in they're not increasing by 75 or 50 like they have been previously, as you can see here, but they're increasing by a decreased amount, as in 25 basis points. Which silly money can look at that and think it's bullish. But in reality, the Fed are still increasing rates. So it is still very bearish for the market. Okay, increasing rates is still bearish to the market. So we have to factor that in as well. If the Fed are still increasing rates, we're probably going to see the market have a pullback at some point, okay, because it is bearish for the market. So we'll have to see. But, now that, they're even considering potentially not even increasing the rates, that is a bullish sign. That is a bullish sign there, Okay, so we'll have to see how the market actually reacts to it. Okay, because yes, they're looking for a 25, but then potentially could they be not increasing at all in the next FOMC meeting? Okay, which is May the 3rd. Okay, we will have to see what happens there. But initially, right now, it is, it is looking good. Okay, the markets are looking good, but we just need to see how the markets react to that 25 basis point rate hike. Okay, so that's pretty much everything. We've got in the next 7 days. Okay, FOMC economic projections, Fed interest rate decision, and then the Fed press conference after. Yeah, those are the most important things that are going to happen in the next few days. And to be honest with you, we are looking bullish, and this may just give us a slight pullback within the markets, but then initially we're probably going to continue towards the upside. Okay, if other data comes in, as forecasted. So we will have to see. But of course, from here, I'm going to be live every day again. I am going to bring you these market updates. And yeah, from here, where I'm sat is a potential pullback from here down to $25,200, solely based on my analysis of the technicals. But then from there, we could actually see a bounce if the market's looking bullish coming into that. So yeah, that's everything I've got for you today. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you tomorrow for that live stream. And yeah, if there's anything else that happens today, of course, I will update you with that as well. So thank you very much for watching, and I will see you later.